Hi there, I'm Ryan Wyatt, this is High Point Music, and today we're going to talk about the top 3 reasons why guitarists of all levels fail with their practice. So what qualifies me to comment on this topic? As someone who's been a guitarist and musician for 20 years, as a part of those 20 years, 16 of those have been in a professional capacity where I've been earning my living from music. Out of those 20 years, I've also spent 11 of those working in a capacity as an instructor, and this is my 12th year with this business. So throughout that time I would have done north of, let's say, 15,000 individual lessons, just as an estimate. So as someone who's personally fascinated as a guitarist and musician to constantly want to improve day by day, just getting that little bit better and building our skill sets, I've seen things not only in my own experience and journey as a guitarist and musician, but in other people and clients I've worked with have run into these obstacles. And the whole purpose of this video is to share what I see as these top 3 reasons, but not only highlight them, but give you people out there the workaround so you can get out from underneath this obstacle and get going on a more constant trajectory with your guitar playing and your practice, and overall having more enjoyment and fulfillment, because there's something really very much enriching when we're working towards something that we're passionate about, and especially being music, it's just a very key part of the human experience. And if we can get that where it's more momentum in the right area where we're improving, that's what we want. So people, before we jump into the video today, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you have the means or the inclination to support us, donate links are below. If you want to request content, any questions about the content that we're going to cover in this lesson, leave it in the comments, or if you want my help one-on-one, you can get in touch. Follow that information down below when I have bookings available. Okay, so the way we're going to break this down, we're going to go through the topics, as I said, highlight them one by one, talk about them, give you guys solutions, and then we're going to wrap it up at the end, bring it all together. Okay, so step number 1. What is the number 1 reason why people fail with their guitar practice? They don't know what they need to work on. Okay, so if we're going to build a skill set or build a skill, we need to constantly apply effort in a certain area to help get that skill moving. If we don't know what we need to work on, then we're being really inefficient with our time and energy, and we're not getting anywhere. We're not putting that time in day after day building that skill. So step 1 with not knowing what you need to work on is you need to have a clear idea of what your goals are on the instrument. Now this might be anything from a beginner, where there could be someone who just wants to learn to play some songs of their favorite artist. It could be someone who wants to learn to do a recording or play a gig with their friends. It could be someone who wants to be able to be a composer, a producer, an academic, a professional musician. It doesn't matter what the goal is. They're all equal. There's no goal that's better than the other. The point is you have to be clear on what you're trying to achieve at that point in time. Once you actually have a clear idea of what that goal is, I have not, in my experience, seen a better route to achieving that goal than working with a highly skilled instructor. Now, that's not to say there isn't great coursework, there isn't great materials floating around and online and in books, but you need to be very self-aware, self-actualized as a guitarist and musician to have an intimate knowledge of what areas specifically that you need to work on. The other thing as well is having an instructor allows you to get that instant feedback, that direct feedback, so you can be more efficient with your time and your energy. Now the way I work with teachers and instructors, I don't have regular lessons and I haven't for years now. The way I use teachers and instructors is in more of a consultancy style role, where I won't see someone regularly, but I might have a lesson on average maybe every 3-4 months. I use this as a time saver, because when you're working with a skilled instructor, you're buying that person's expertise, you're buying the years of experience, and they're giving you processes. And what those processes allowed you to do is step over that phase of having to analyze what's going on and get you working and practicing on what you need to develop straight away. I'll give you a small example. I like George Benson, a lot of people do. He's a very talented guitarist and musician. And I have a pretty extensive education in jazz theory and harmony. So I was listening to Benson before Christmas and he's playing one of his tunes. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. And I'm like, okay, he's doing that with his pentatonic scales. And then I sat down to try and apply it in my practice. But what I found was it was close, but not close enough. There was something just missing. And I'm like, okay, I need to transcribe this, I need to analyze. But with my current schedule, with commitments to clients and businesses, that just isn't, I don't have the time. That's going to take me probably 3, 4, maybe even more weeks to have a little bit of time every day to transcribe a complicated solo. So what I did, I called up an instructor, someone I know to be a very high level jazz player, and within seconds they were like, oh yeah, he's doing that with his pentatonics, but he's using this rhythm. And they gave me the missing piece of the puzzle. And straight away, I'd stepped over that phase of having to analyze something and was working on the process. Now, quality instructors generally charge a fair price for their skills, which is fair. However, there's no excuse not to have access when you can leave comments on this channel. I love hearing from guitarists who are always striving to get that bit better. I'm more than happy to answer any questions you have. So if you can't afford a high quality instructor, you can at least have access. Drop it on the comments on the YouTube channel and I can help you out with what you need to work on. So there's no excuses to have access to good tuition there, people. So you got to be clear about your goals, and then we've identified the workaround. So you're working with an instructor, we can get in touch via the YouTube channel. Okay, point number 2, second most popular reason I think why guitarists fail with their practice is they don't practice often enough. Now, there's a big thing in our culture where there's this idea of you've got to push, do everything harder, longer, faster. Whilst I'm not against people working hard, I'm against working stupid, in a stupid manner, I should say, rather. Because if you're going to build something, skills and mastery in a certain area, it's not going to happen in 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. You need to progressively put effort in over time. There's a really awesome book, I'm going to leave it in the description. Author is James Clear, it's called Atomic Habits. And this book details quite specifically the benefits and compounding benefits of just having a process where you can make incremental gains, small gains, but do it consistently. And what this allows us to do is build in a way where we're not stressing out. We're just doing that little bit every day, getting better, getting sharper, working smarter. And it's not about, because I've tried many different practice methods. The way to not practice is to burn out, which is what one phase I tried where it's just go harder, longer. As a rule of thumb, people, I use this myself and I instruct my clients to do the same, is if you want to see consistent improvement, I say 4 days a week, or 4 sessions a week, I should say. If you're really getting after it, 5 to 6. I fall in that 5 to 6 category. I will do 5 to 6, but usually I will make the 6th day pretty light, pretty playful. I might play guitar a little bit every day outside of my practice, but with practice, I always make sure I get my 5 to 6 in, and I always make sure towards the end of the week, particularly that 6th day, it's pretty light, it's pretty playful. It's not as long as the rest of the sessions. You have to let your body and your mind recover, let the information sink in. Now you notice I didn't say how long to practice for, I said how often. How long depends on the goals you're trying to achieve, the length of your session. How often is more important, because there's a very interesting book called How We Learn. I believe the author is Benedict Carey. I'll drop the link for that. You guys can check it out in the description as well. And he's a scientific journalist, and he compiled a bunch of information from various academic studies, where one of the points made in this book was it's not only enough to know the skill or the information, but the actual ability to recall it is a skill in itself. So for example, if you're someone who's practiced, you're going to do 5 hours of practice, but you're only going to do it on 1 day, then you've got to practice for 3 weeks. But someone's going to do, say, 20 minutes every day, 30 minutes every day for 3 weeks. The person who's doing the small amount is going to have the far superior skill set because they're practicing that recall. So that's why it's more important to practice often than it is the actual length of your practice sessions. On those weeks where life just gets busy, commitments pop up, no one's immune from that. One thing I've found is 3 sessions a week is a really cool maintenance load that you can keep your skills fresh. You're going to see minimal improvement, but you're going to hold it together. It's maintaining your skills. Things aren't going backwards. So in summary of these ideas, 4 for consistent improvement, 5 to 6 when you're really getting after it, 3 days per week on those weeks where it's just you've got so much on, you're just getting some maintenance work in, and so you can relax and not stress out that you're missing your practice and all those sorts of things. Now the third step we're going to talk about is very, very important, has the ability to make or break what we're doing. We know what we need to work on. We're practicing often enough. Now we need to make sure, third rule, we are practicing properly. Now, what is it to practice properly? Before we get into talking about what it is to practice properly, we need to talk about what it is to play properly. So when we are playing really well, we're expressing those skills on the guitar from the subconscious mind. How do we get information into the subconscious mind? We do so with controlled and consistent repetitions. How do you know if you're doing it controlled? you are practicing it at a tempo where, let's say 8, 9 times out of 10, you are doing it well, you're doing it perfect, you're not making any errors. Now the reason this idea is very counterintuitive for a lot of people is there's a common belief out there that we have to practice hard. If we want to do something fast, we want to play fast. If we want to play it really hard, we have to practice it hard. And the time comes where you build speed and strength, but those things come as a byproduct of having a really deep understanding of the idea. When you're practicing something slow, or not slow but controlled and consistent, your subconscious mind's taking snapshots of that idea, of what you're working on. Okay? The more information it's gathering, the more consistent and controlled the repetitions, the bigger the pool of information you have on what you're trying to do with the task, the higher your ability to actually execute it under pressure and in performance, which is what we do when we play. How do we actually look at applying that concept with our practice? So for the example I've come up with is, let's say you want to learn a really complicated passage or a really complicated solo off your favorite player, why not? And what we're going to do with that is you're going to grab, say, the first 2 bars, and then you're going to break those 2 bars down, work your way through the notes in a controlled, consistent manner. You're going to repeat that. By doing that, you're creating a framework. Once you have that framework, you can then go about grabbing the next 2 bars and connecting them on. 2 becomes 4. Once 4 is feeling comfortable, you grab the next 2, build those up, connect it onto the framework. And by following that process, you can build using a real simple process to accomplishing something which is very complicated and might seem very tricky to the average listener looking at it. So summarizing these ideas here, controlled, consistent repetitions applied to bite-sized manageable pieces is how we practice properly. So that brings us to where we're wrapping up the whole ideas now, or all the ideas collectively. Number 1, you got to know what you need to practice. You got to know what you need to work on. So how do you do that? You be clear about what your goals are, and then you find yourself a skilled instructor who can help you get you on the path to the processes you need to practice. Don't have access to a skilled instructor? You can drop your comments and questions on this YouTube channel. I'm more than happy to hear from you people, so there's no excuses with that whatsoever. Point number 2, people, we need to practice often enough. So that's getting your minimum 4 sessions a week, 5 to 6 if you're really getting after it. On those busy weeks, get your 3 sessions in, keep your skills steady. Once we have what we need to work on, we're practicing often enough, we need to make sure we are practicing properly and applying that process, which is counterintuitive, but trust me, the science is there to back it up. It is incredibly effective. I've been using it for years. I encourage all my clients to use it and have seen some absolutely phenomenal results that they get with their playing. So regardless of where you're coming from, if you're having obstacles with your practice and your playing, I can guarantee you it's either one of those 3 or all of those 3 put together. And the whole point of it, putting this video together, is to help you people get that workaround and get you relaxed and enjoying your practice again, which comes with making progress towards our goals. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, people. All this information is given to you free. There's no gimmicks. If you want to support, there's links below. If you have any comments, questions, anything in relation to this video, or want to request content, leave it in the comments. I'm Ryan White. This is High Point Music. Enjoy your guitar playing, people, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.